Hi, my name is Jason Soares. This is Sushi, and welcome to DaBestBulls Ranch. Today, I'm going to introduce you Fury, one of our top studs, amazing boy, one of my favorite dogs, and we're going to show you him, talk about studs, and then on top of that, I'm going to go over a crazy important subject, which is dog sickness, injuries for the dogs, sickness prevention, injury prevention, and then last but not least, we're going to go over our dog facility, show you the new concrete stalls we're going to be putting in, show you the epoxy flooring we're going to be doing, and also talk about the back and the playpens we're going to be doing for them. So we have a lot of big things planned, so make sure you stay tuned. And if you're not following, not subscribed, make sure you follow us on Instagram, DaBestBulls Ranch, TikTok, DaBestBulls, email DaBestBulls@gmail.com, and then make sure you click down, subscribe, like, comment below. Hi, my name is Jason Soares, and welcome to DaBestBulls Ranch. So now let me formally introduce you, Fury, but let's say bye to Sushi. Bye-bye, Sushi. All right, I'm back. So now, formally to introduce Fury. We call him Tyson Fury after one of the greatest boxers in the world ever. And Fury is one of my favorite dogs. He is a gorgeous, amazing, great-tempered, functional, healthy, great pedigree dog. He literally checks every single box that you want for a dog and every single box that you want for a stud. Honestly, an amazing, amazing dog in every single aspect. Like, looks amazing. He is the brother of Escobar, direct brother, same bloodlines. He is the son of Sancho out of Texas, a tiny little micro blue tri-merle, gorgeous dog. And then he is the son of our girl, Missy. He produces amazing. He just is such a good, nice boy. We gotta clean his rolls now. These rolls are getting, that's the Bulldog life, clean rolls. He's just such a good, nice boy. And, get right here. And he's just gorgeous. And he is such a good fixer of the Bulldog problems because he has that perfect head, like crazy perfect head. We gotta clean his face, but let's not talk about that right now. But he has perfect head, flat face, no underbite, super naturally nice boy. Like this boy, I've never trained him in his life. He just wants to listen. He always wants to listen. He sits because he wants to listen. He goes in his pen. He does everything perfectly. Not ever being worked with. He's just such a good boy. Huge head, flat face, that fixes a lot of the narrow-headed females, and the underbite, which I'm not a big fan of. You want to fix that. He has no underbite. Great bone, great back structure, super strong, nice hind end, and great natural like little bowed stance, good bone, nice color, but that's least my worries. A extremely functional dog, breathes good, everything. His only downfall is he gets a little bit too excited around people, but that's just because he's just such a loving boy. But it's funny too, funny story. I had a guy, so he's one of our studs. And I had someone lock him in as a stud, and they asked, what happens if you sell him? And I said, I would definitely give your money back, and but I wouldn't sell him. And he's like, no, everyone says that, but everyone has a price. And I'm like, no, you don't know me. Like, listen, I wouldn't sell him. Like, you could offer me hundreds of thousands, and Fury's not going anywhere. He's just my boy, you know, I love him. He loves my daughter loves him, and he's definitely part of the family. And on top of that, just an amazing producer and an amazing, like, fixer. He fixes all those problems that most Bulldogs or females have as far as the bone, as far as the head, as far as the underbite, and everything. Right, boy? There's my boy. He's such a good boy. Right, Fury? And on top of that, something that also about Fury is that I love that he naturally has is he is not a fighter. He has no aggression in him. He does not like any kind of like fighting, and he won't, if a dog tries to fight him, he'll legit run, which is great because when you have multiple dogs, you don't want that kind of, that fighting instinct in them because that causes problems, and they can kill each other. They can team up and maul someone, but Fury's never going to be that problematic dog because he's not aggressive, like zero aggression, and I love that. That's the Escobar Fury line. That they don't have any aggression in them, and I love that. I know some people like aggressive dogs, but If you want, you know, a guard dog, get a friggin' German Shepherd, you know. But you want a great family dog, super nice dog, you get English Bulldog, right? Right, boy? So something that's so important with dogs, period, and so important when you're picking a stud is the functionality, the movement, everything. You want to make sure, like, whether you're getting a stud for yourself because you want like a boy to stud out, or you're going to be purchasing a stud that you want to use that semen for your female, you want to make sure you're getting a boy that's functional, that he can move, he can jump, that's going to be carried down to the puppies, that he has a strong hind end, strong front end, that they're going to be healthy, and so you're producing dogs that look good, and you're also bettering the breed in the sense that you're producing dogs that are going to live long, they're going to be functional, they're going to be great pets for people, all those things. Fury checks that box for sure. He runs, he jumps. He's never had a problem in his life. He has great fur, he has great everything. He's just a great dog in that sense. On top of that, the health-wise is super important. Fury is health tested and health cleared. Again, I don't think that is the most important thing when you're talking about the health of a dog, because you're talking about 4 things that really don't matter. But he is health tested, health cleared. And if you look at him, you come see him, you see him run, you see him move, you know that he's a healthy dog. And he doesn't have a bad angle. Huge head, right? So a super important topic for any dog owner, especially bulldog owners, are injuries and sickness prevention. Now injuries, I'm going to go over, and it's important, of course, you never want anything bad to happen to your dog, but the number one thing that can go downhill bad, and injuries as far as too, you never want to have stuff with your dogs that they could choke on, like just like a baby, you know, you don't have things like that. That's going to prevent those kind of bad things. But injuries as far as like hip and legs and all those things happen, I'm going to talk about it. But to be honest, it's not my main concern. We want to always make sure the dogs don't have an area or not in a position where to put themselves in danger, because they're like kids, you know, like they'll try to slip through this hole, then get stuck and then choke themselves, you know, like, so we want to make sure we're preventing things like that from happening. We're making sure if it's a 1% chance that it could happen, if it's a 1% chance that Fury could try to go through this, get stuck here, and then hurt his leg or choke himself because he has his collar on, then I have to make sure I take into account that 1% and I stop that situation from ever occurring. Now, with sickness is in my opinion a lot more dangerous, especially with bulldogs. They have narrow airways and stuff. If they do get pneumonia, which is probably the worst thing, it can go downhill or uphill, whatever you say. It can turn bad extremely quick. So it's very important to spot those things before they happen, because if it does happen, like we're talking, you know, 12 hours, the dog can go downhill, and then all it takes is just getting them on antibiotics, and the dog's fine. So I have to feed the dogs right now. I'm running a little bit behind schedule, so I'm going to go over all this stuff while I'm feeding the dogs. So let's go feed the dogs, and I'll talk to you about this. So with dealing with dog sickness and dog problems, all that stuff, my number one thing, and this is my number one thing on most things you guys are going to come to realize, is just paying attention and being super attentive to your dogs. For example, if Sushi's not feeling well, she's going to act different. Dogs can't talk. So since they can't talk, they're not going to tell you, hey, I have congestion in my chest, or hey, I don't feel good, or hey, my legs hurt. So that's why I don't agree with having dogs or breeding dogs unless you love them and you're gonna give them attention and do all this stuff, because if not, it's not gonna turn out well. Like for example, if I was just doing this because I wanted to make money or whatever, and I had, you know, everyone else running my stuff, and I was just, you know, like an investor, then most of the, like, they're not gonna pay attention that I'm gonna pay, like I'm gonna pay attention to. So like Sushi right now, I know her. She hangs out with me all the time. I know if she's not feeling good. I watch her eat. I watch her move, and I see how she's doing it. If she does one thing abnormal, I now pay more attention to her. And if she does another thing abnormal, okay, now I know something's wrong. So that's the big trick. Now, one of the biggest tricks to being able to read your dog is their food. So I always personally feed my dogs, and I would like to say, when I say always, I mean probably, you know, 99% of the time in the month. There's sometimes where I have to do things, and you know, Sarah will feed them, and she's very attentive too, and she understands how how crazy I am about them. But, oh, by the way, I started using this 4Health salmon and potato formula. I actually like it. I'm gonna use it for a little bit longer and see you guys, you know, I'm big on my nutrition, and then I'll recommend it if I like how it's working. But the other one was harder to get, and this one's actually at the local, what's it called? Like shop or whatever, the store, so I decided to try it. But anyway, what I was going with is I always feed my dogs, and the reason I do that is because food is one of the biggest tells on if they're not doing well. Like, for example, if Sushi wasn't feeling good, she's not gonna eat. And if she doesn't eat, that's a huge tell. Okay, there's something wrong with her. She's sick, she's hurt, or whatever. But it's not the only tell either, because the thing is, there's multiple things that it could be. Like, for example, maybe Sushi's not a big eater. By the way, Sushi's such a good dog. Look at her. She's just like her dad, Escobar, and she's just chilling. She's so happy just being by me and just being a good girl. But, so that being said, the eating is not the biggest thing. But most bulldogs are big eaters, and since they're big eaters, they like to eat a lot, they're gonna be always wanting to eat. Like, they're gonna always eat their food. Like, and it's all relative to the dog. So for example, Escobar, he's actually really not a big eater. And sometimes he will not eat his food in the morning, and he won't eat it until later at night. And sometimes he just doesn't eat as much. So for him not eating, it's not a big deal, as I understand how he is. You know, if he didn't eat for 2 days, it'd be a big deal. For a dog like, let's say, Rari, if Rari didn't eat all her food right now, instantly, I would know something's the matter with her. I would know that she's sick, that she's feeling bad, that she's hurting. Possibly coming into heat, because that can change how they feel. So there's a bunch of different things. And just like in anything in life, when you're dissecting a problem, you're not just taking one thing. So for example, I am going to take into account that they didn't eat and then that they're coughing. Okay, so now I know they didn't eat and they're coughing, for sure they're sick, you know? If they didn't eat, there could be another reason, you know? Maybe they're just not hungry, but I like to take into account like how the dog acts normally. And so that's why I'm so, like, I just like to make sure that I get time with my dogs. The other thing with your dogs too, with injuries, with sicknesses, with hot spots, like, 'cause they break out in rashes and stuff too, is that's why it's so important to touch your dog every day. Like, I know it's like it's funny to say that, but some people might go a couple days out touching your dog. And sometimes, this has happened to me too, sometimes they could get like a rash from the new food you're giving them or something, and you won't even see it, the blisters under their fur, until you touch them. And if you didn't touch them right away, now they're having problems and you don't even know. And on top of that, when you touch something, it dials you into them. So like, if I touch Sushi, it dials me into her. Okay, she's breathing good, she's wagging her tail, she's happy. Okay, so now I know she's good. So the touching, it sort of amplifies the paying attention thing. So that's why it's so important. Sushi is not yours, baby. That's why it's so important to touch them. And then lastly, another tip I would use to being able to analyze your dogs, make sure they're not sick, make sure they're not injured, everything, is that you should always have someone else involved in what you're in this business. You know, so for example, I do this with my fiance Sarah, and she understands how attentive I am and how much I care about dogs and stuff, and she does too. But she understands that, and so she knows like to look at the dogs like crazy, like me. So there's been times where she's like, "Hey, did you know that, you know, Mr. President has this little thing on his leg?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't see that." Because it's just like you go days and days of seeing the same thing. Sometimes you get blinded by it. So having another set of eyes, two other sets of eyes that care about this, really help you out and make you be able to analyze and see everything that's going on, all the if there anything bad or anything good's happening. So it's so important. So if I had to list them, like, to, you know, obviously pay attention to your dogs, okay? But you do that by, you know, one, I like to feed them. Make sure I analyze everything, how they're feeding, how they're eating, make sure they're drinking, everything. Two, I like to always touch them every single day. Make sure, you know, hey, pet them, and it dials you in them, makes you feel them, see how they're moving. And then three, if you have another set of eyes, two more sets of eyes that are helping you, it's gonna really, you know, help you be attentive to those dogs, and now you're gonna be able to see everything. And then I'm gonna talk about in a second too, like little things you wanna watch out for, like critical things as far as sickness goes, injuries goes, that might help you. The other thing with the dogs now, like I'm talking about just paying attention to all that stuff, you have to know what to look for. So, of course, number one is to identify something's wrong with your dog. Number two is if you can identify what it is. Now, I'm gonna say a little disclaimer. And my disclaimer with bulldogs, and it's hard sometimes, is that bulldogs are not the healthiest of dogs as a whole. They're a predisposed breed to problems, right? So of course you want to get from the best breeder that has the healthiest dogs, because otherwise you're setting yourself up for failure. On top of that, you want to get from the best breeder, healthiest dogs on anything you get, because it's just the right thing to do. Now, that being said, they are very far from their wolf descendants, and a lot of vets don't really like bulldogs because they are, they're not as functional or whatever. And so depending on what vet you go to, if you go to a vet, and I know everyone thinks, oh, a vet has to be good. They went to school, just like doctors. There's good doctors and bad doctors. Same thing with good vets and bad vets. And if you go to a vet that doesn't really deal with bulldogs or specialize in bulldogs or doesn't understand them, they're gonna immediately tell you, throw the book at the dog. One, because they don't really like them or they don't really understand them, and two, because they might be money hungry. They're gonna throw the book at you and say, oh, your dog doesn't move right. Yeah, we know that. Bulldogs don't move like a freaking wolf. Your dog doesn't breathe right. Yeah, we know it doesn't breathe like a wolf. Your dog doesn't this, so we need to do the soft palate surgery, we need to do the nasal surgery, we need to do surgery on the hips. So lots of times it's a heat up, or in the nicest way to say it, a scam, and they're just saying all this stuff because one, they don't really know, and two, a big part of it is that they just want money, and that's a sad thing to it. So it's very, very important to find a good vet for your bulldog. And me personally, I'm a natural person. I like to do as little surgeries, little supplements as possible in anything. So especially with bulldogs, you don't want to be just throwing your dog for surgery for no freaking reason. Of course, maybe you do have a bulldog that has really bad soft palate and has very bad breathing. So of course, you could get that surgery. But like technically, you could have that surgery done to every single bulldog, because if you go to the wrong or the right vet, So it's very, very important to understand the bulldog breed, understand how to find a vet that knows about the bulldog breed, and not to go over the top, So that's my disclaimer, because like I said, you could take your dog in because you thought, she's or he didn't eat right in the morning, so you take him into the vet. Now the vet's talking about how we have to do hip surgery, have hip dysplasia, all this stuff. And your dog could have this. I'm not saying your vet's totally wrong. Or it could be that your vet is money hungry and it sees a bulldog, and bulldogs, you can say all these things and get you to do it. So be very, very careful. That's my disclaimer. Now, the things you want to look for. So I've been in this business for a while, and I'm pretty good at seeing everything. And I also do some of my own treatments. Not because I'm cheap or anything like that. I could care less about the money portion. Like, for example, if my dog was sick and you told me it's going to cost this much money to guarantee to fix it, I'm doing that all day. That's not the problem with me. So I treat my dogs. A huge reason is because it's safer. For example, when you take your dog to the vet, and I'm not saying don't take your dog to the vet, take your dog to the vet if it's sick, but if you take your dog to the vet, you're taking your dog to the breeding, or the apex of all the problems. Like every person that has parvo, that has their dog's crazy sick, that has some kind of kennel cough, some kind of whatever, takes their dog to the vet. So now you're throwing your dog in the front line of crazy sickness. And then you bring your dog home to the rest of your dogs or your other puppies ever, and it's just an extremely dangerous thing to do. But vets are great, and if you have a great vet, they're extremely good and beneficial, especially in serious situations. Same thing with me. I hate hospitals, but I don't want to go. It's breeding ground for disease and all that stuff. But I was hit by a car on a motorcycle and I almost died, and they saved my life, and I love them, the hospitals, for that. But I don't want to go just to go, for any stupid little thing. That's not me. So I treat some of the dogs like there's you can buy this over the counter. This is one thing. This is doxycycline. And you can buy this over the counter, and it's actually a very, very good antibiotic. There's some pros and cons to it, and you might want to read about it. I don't really recommend anyone self-treating their dogs. I'm just telling you that's what I do. And that's like good for kennel cough or something like that. What kennel cough is, by the way, is it's just like doggy flu. That's exactly what it is. It's doggy flu, and it makes them sick, and it's very, very dangerous. And that's like things you want to look for in that is them coughing, them breathing bad. And I'm going to go over actually how to tell if your dog's breathing bad. And those things need to be treated right away, because those things, if they are left alone, the dog can get really bad really quick. So that's so, so important to be able to catch things like that. Other things that are like injuries and stuff like that, you don't want your dog jumping up high things. Bulldogs are a very heavy breed. I know I'm talking a lot, but I got lots of information. Bulldogs are a very heavy breed, and if you, like let's say they're jumping off something high, since they're so heavy, it can cause them to tear their ACL in their back leg and do all kinds of bad things. So you want to be very careful in letting, dog can jump, but your bulldog, the standard rule is it should never be able to jump off something that it couldn't jump onto. So if it can't get onto it, it can't jump off it. And that's a really good rule. And 2, 4, 6, 8. That's a really good rule to follow, because if it can get onto it, most likely it's not too high they can jump off. But if you're just putting the dog on something and jumps off and it's very high, there's a huge chance that it could hurt their legs, their hips, their everything, because they're a heavy breed. The same thing with people. It's like bigger, heavier, muscle-bound people, they don't jump up higher things like skinnier, lankier people do, because gravity pulls them down harder. So that's something very important to watch out for. And if your dog ever gets some kind of injury like hip, ankle, there's a fine line. And like, of course, you know, I'm not a vet, I don't pretend to be a vet or anything like that. But me personally, I like to let the dog relax and see if they'll heal first, because surgery is the last option for me. I don't want surgery on a bulldog. They're not the best at breathing. They get put under with a lot of stress and anxiety. They can never wake up. So it's very, very scary to me, and I'm not gonna do that unless the dog really, really needs it. So me, if my bulldog, like I have actually had the bulldog tear their ACL, and then my vet, I have a very good vet in Miami where I used to go, his name is Dr. Machado, and he even told me the dog had the ACL pulled, and he even told me we can do the surgery, because I was very upset and I wanted him fixed. Old stud of mine, and then he's like, but it's gonna be expensive, and there's a more than 50% chance that it doesn't heal, because the dog's not gonna let it mend, and it's gonna come back. So I'm like, you know, with that kind of, and it's dangerous putting the dog under. So all those negatives, I decided to opt against it. And the dog's name is Maverick, and it took about 6 months, but in 6 months you wouldn't have never known Maverick had a torn ACL. He had a tiny little limp to his step and was perfect, functional, happy dog. So that's my story with the injury. Now, with the injuries, in my opinion, are not as dangerous or as critical normally as like the sicknesses, like the kennel cough, which is like doggy flu or pneumonia. Those things can happen very quickly and get severe extremely quick. And they happen for multiple reasons. One, just doggy sickness. Two, they aspirate a little bit. Bulldogs maybe eat too fast, then throw up, and during the throw up process they swallow a little bit of it and choke, and that causes aspiration. And what aspiration is, it causes fluid to now not go in their stomach, go in a little bit in their lungs, which now causes an infection, which causes pneumonia, and that can get bad extremely quick, and it can kill a bulldog insanely fast. Happens a lot with puppies because they'll eat fast, and then they'll choke and aspirate, and then you have a huge problem. They need to be treated ASAP, as quickly as possible, and literally, like, it can go downhill in 12 hours. So if you see that, they need to be on antibiotics. And it's as simple as just them being on antibiotics, and they'll be fine, but you have to spot it, you have to know what it is, and you'll see the coughing, you'll see bad respiratory rate. I'm gonna show you how to deal with respiratory rate and be able to track it a little easier right now. This is Khaleesi. This is actually Present and Kilo's mom. Super nice, Mini Bulldog. I love her. She's my baby too. So I always check her. Now, she always likes to rub her face, so we're always doing stuff to stop her from doing that, putting stuff on it. And I just like to pet my dogs, make sure they feel good. She feels good. I actually always have to watch her because I like to make sure she eats enough, because she's like a light eater. So I have to make sure I always like put stuff in her food to make her eat, because she's like always on the verge of not being like the weight I want her. Now, if she had little sores, I'm actually gonna show you Mr. President. Mr. President has sores on him, and we're trying to deal with it. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I'm gonna grab him. Lacey, go. Yeah, so like when you're checking your dogs, like let's say for example, I'll show you President in a second though, for this stuff. But when you're checking them, let's say I saw a limp. First thing I'm doing on a limp is I'm putting my fingers inside their pads, making sure there's not like a splinter, you know? Now some of you guys might say cut our nails. There's only a tiny bit to cut, and I don't want it to hit the cuticle, I mean the quick and make them bleed. So if you have one here, I'll cut that one, but I know I'm gonna get heat for that, but their nails wear off because they run outside so much. But anyhow, so you have to feel inside here. Then if I saw a limp like in the front leg, I'm gonna feel, make sure it's like not a muscular thing, she's not yelping. Now one thing some people will say, like when they have their back end, is like a dislocation. Here's a trick to see if your dog has a dislocated leg. I actually learned this from a vet. Is you grab them, you pull their legs. If one back leg was way shorter, then you would know it's dislocated. The longer one's the one that's dislocated. But you pull her, both are even. Her hind end's great. So now I'm gonna take Mr. President. I'm gonna show you some stuff on Mr. President. Come on, let's go. President, come here. President, come here. Now, President, actually, he has these things on him. So there's like a hot spot. Now, I don't know what it's from, and it's very weird. Like, but I don't like it. I don't like it for him. But most you see, like I just poked scab off, a little bit of blood. So this could be fungal or bacterial. So there's two things we do. That I use to start off with. I use this thing called V3 Plus. It's like dirty. V3 Plus works really good. It's for dogs too, horse and dogs. It's a antimicrobial wound and skin care. So it works for a lot of different things. So I'll spray it on this spot. He has them pretty funny. So I'll just soak it. I do this twice a day for him, and it's been working. And he has one on the other side too, same exact thing. Now, if it wasn't working too, there's also this great thing. They use it a lot for horses. It's called MTG, and it works really well. It's for a lot of fungus. You can read the whole bottle. It's very good, and you can put this on there. It's like it's a very healthy thing, and it can go on their skin if they're having any skin problems. And you'll try this with skin problems. I'll try these things. Now, something to understand with skin problems is lots of times it is dietary. Their diet's causing them. This I can tell is not dietary. His coat and fur is great. It's just it's probably environmental. When you're treating skin problems, you need to, the treatment's not going to like show effect in one day. So it takes a couple days to see a difference, and then if you don't see a difference or it's getting worse, then obviously you need to try something else and or take them to the vet. But that's what we use in these two things right here. If one of them doesn't work, the other one will work. This covers pretty much everything that I've seen. So with the cleaning the folds, there's different things on the market you can use. All kinds of things. Now, me personally, I just like to use, you can use baby wipes. I use baby wipes to make sure that they're like the untreated one, like this organic, not like no real chemicals in it. But all I do really is just take a paper towel, okay? And I just wipe out the folds, and you're gonna get the stuff in there. There's like, you don't want too much buildup in there, because that will get like yeast infections, stuff like that. And then I just clean it. You can see Fury's face is pretty good. Now, they have these two rolls. See, like the little black there, he's getting dirty. He likes to go outside and play a lot, so it happens to him. Now, you can use a damp cloth too. I'm just using it dry. Now, something that you can do too, especially on white dogs, it helps sort of stop the dying of them, the dye of the ugly dye, is take a little hydrogen peroxide. You don't want to use too much, just damp, and you're just gonna wipe it in there. Make sure you don't get in the eye. Just a little dampness. It's gonna clean. And you don't want to do the hydrogen peroxide every time, as it can actually eat away at the skin, but just a little bit. Don't soak it, because like I said, you don't want it all the time. And then, and now also take another one to dry it so the hydrogen peroxide is not like soaking in. And it's good. Hydrogen peroxide is good for the white dogs too, because it helps get away from those tear stains. But, and that's it. And I just maintain him, keep him clean. At the end of the day, it's very hard to keep their rolls perfect, but the most important thing is not the aesthetics, but like the health-wise. You don't want to get infections and get so dirty there. But that's why I use just some paper towels and some hydrogen peroxide. There's all kinds of other things you can use too. If you guys have comments or if you guys have used some and you've had good results, or if you have used some and had bad results, make sure you leave a comment down below so I can know, everyone else can know. But now, let's go see the facility, okay? Let's take some dogs outside. Let's go. I'm going to show you the facility, and then I'm going to take dogs outside and show you some of the stuff we're going to be doing out in the back. As you can see, we have a lot of work. We had the whole long wall done of pens, but now we're gonna do the short wall. Mainly, I don't really need it, the space, but mainly just for OCD reasons. I want you walk in, you have the nice L, and so we have the same concrete pens we built here with the outdoor access as well too. We're gonna do probably 5 to 6 pens. I might do some single pens, and we're gonna do a big pen here, and it's gonna have the floor drainage in it as well too, because we're gonna make this area for like a lot of puppies and stuff like that. So this will be done. And then I promise, if you look over here, I've been working on this for now a month now, where I just sort of left it. I promise the cedar shelving unit will be done soon. I'm gonna finish this. I have to, it's been sealed. I have to coat it with a clear coat and then sand it down, or sand it down and then coat it with clear coat, and we're done. Today we have the stalls getting done. So what we have to do is we're gonna epoxy. It's actually not epoxy, it's like called polyplastic. It's like a new thing that's better than epoxy, more durable. I'll find out the exact name for you. And that's what's gonna go on the floor. It's a lot more durable. The walls are gonna be an epoxy-like substance. And so it's gonna basically, or not basically, it is gonna make everything in there watertight. So watertight and then smell-proof as well too, because concrete is porous and absorbs pee, smell, all this stuff, odors. So we wanna seal that. So we're gonna be sealing the floor with a new paint. The walls, everything will be sealed. Then our floor will be done as soon as we finish our new pens, because those pens, if we have the builders come in and build those pens, they'll damage the brand new freaking floor that we put in. So we're gonna have that done as soon as we have the pens done. So right now, pens are gonna get painted, then the pens are gonna be made, then the floor is gonna get painted, then the pens are gonna get painted. So we have all that coming, and I'm super excited. It's pretty much giving us our final touches. So we are still crazy work in progress. Now, I'm just gonna tell you a little bit more detail of what we're doing back here. So we're gonna seal the floors. The concrete is porous. We don't want it absorbing all the pee and poop. We're gonna seal the floors. We're gonna seal and stucco the walls. And we have custom doors and gating, not gating, but like fencing all the way around this thing, like the inside. And then back here, so goal is back here is we have, well, not goal, it is, we have three pens totaling 150 by 70. Each pen is 50 by 70. And then they're each gonna have we're gonna build little shallow concrete pools, probably like 3 or 4 inches, with filtration systems and everything from the planes. The dogs love the water, and then also keeps them cool. Fury, what's up, man? Look at Fury. Fury's so good. But that's gonna be their pens here. So if you can envision it, dogs are gonna have their indoor outdoor access over here, and then when we want during the day, we can open them up and let them go back out into their pens back here, and they have a super safe area. That's gonna be fun for them. We're gonna have little things for them to jump on and off, and the pool. So I'm really, really excited about that. It's gonna be like, not only are we building like a crazy nice facility inside, but we're building a crazy nice facility outside for the dogs, just so they can be happier and have fun. And it's gonna be a spectacle when we're done, the whole thing. But we're gonna have like the gazebo thing. I don't know what it's called, but we have all those things coming. Just stay tuned. But you can see we got the dogs out here. Esbar, Present, Rari, Fury, Lady, they're all out here. They pretty much, when I'm outside there and they're outside with me, they just follow me. And that's the thing too, so I love bulldogs because temperament-wise, when you get properly bred bulldog, you're talking about a very calm, loving, loyal dog. They don't like to run away. Some dogs, like breeds, are like runaway breeds that like to leave and stuff. You don't have to worry about the bulldogs. Literally, like, you can let these guys out, go inside, they can be free, they could leave if they want, and you can come out an hour later, they'll be sitting by the door. They just want to be by you, And that's what they do. Espar's by my side always. President's by my side always. They're always by my side or within sight of me, so they can see me, and they know where I am. It's pretty cool. That's my little group, right, guys? But we should have some more people showing up. It's a busy day at DaBestBulls Ranch. Look at Diva, she's bothering him. Guys, leave him alone. You got Diva, Fury, and Nairobi. President's messing with you. President's up. We're done with today's episode, and We got Mr. Aaron Aaron coming from Florida Coast Naturals.
How are you doing?
He's my epoxy guy, my chicken coop guy, and he is delivering after months and months, maybe a year. I'm just kidding. I like stuff done. I like stuff done fast, guys. And anyhow, but he's doing it fast and doing it really well. These are the doors, the last doors for the pens, and boom! Look at that. Hey, drop comment down below what you think of these doors. So this, just so you understand, is made by Florida Coast Naturals, Aaron's company.
Thank you.
This is epoxy cedar with black filled inlaid in it, and then we have the back is plywood coated with epoxy for strength reasons, and then also durability, so the dog's jumping on the back. If you can see the side here, this is the cedar. So those are go insert in all the doors, and then this is like one of the most exciting things about that I'm excited about the kennel. It's pretty stupid, but it's funny. I just like excited about the doors, but they are nice. You can see
they look great. They look beautiful.
So he's delivering the last 5 today. We still have to do one thing on one of the doors, so we're not gonna get the middle one in. The middle one's gonna be, it's a little bit different of a design, and it's gonna have the DaBestBulls logo in the middle of it. So when you're looking at all of them, you got the DaBestBulls logo there. But super excited that Aaron, thank you for coming out.
Likewise.
And that's a wrap for today. So that's enough for one day. I appreciate everyone so much for tuning in, watching me. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram, DaBestBulls Ranch. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, DaBestBulls. Email, you can always email me, contact me anytime you want. It's DaBestBulls@gmail.com. And of course, make sure you're subscribed down below, click the bell, and follow us here on YouTube. I appreciate everyone so much. Once again, make sure you give me comments on what you think about the episode, whether it's good, whether it's bad, what you like, what you didn't like, what you want to hear more of, what you don't want to hear more of. Like, I love positive and negative comments, and as far as like guiding me, because it's going to help me and it's going to help you in the long run too. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much again, and make sure you stay tuned for next week of the next episode of DaBestBulls Ranch.